Hey, what's up, Run Try Bike family? Welcome to another episode of the Fiery Embers. I got my good friend and brother over here, Jordan Moon, joining me for this conversation.
Yeah,
Excited
well,
to have
hey,
you.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. For those of you who don't know, Jordan has told his story on our platform as well. You can find that on our website. I'm going to post the link. I might have actually posted it this morning. I'm going to post the link again so that you guys can check out the story. Jordan's got an amazing background. Well, he's got a great story, but he's also got an amazing thing that he did a couple years ago. Just a small little thing where he ran across America just a few years back. And yeah, but before we jump into this conversation and talk about some of the big news, give us a bit of an update on that documentary.
All right, so the team that followed me across the entire country, Manifest Filmworks, uh, they have been compiling. We're about to hit the 3-year anniversary here on September 2nd. So it's quite a huge project. Um, and they've got probably 3 terabytes of data for 71 days of filming. So just being able to put everything in order that they want, and it is a two-person team. It has taken some time, but with the grace of their hard effort, I'm not pushing them too hard. So I have an uncle who is a director for Netflix, and he is taking a look at all the footage right now, and hopefully something can come about it on a bigger platform than what we would have hoped for. So as the year continues, um, my my guys who crewed me, their busy season for their work is through the summer into the fall here in Colorado. They own a video production company, but also they're doing a lot of photography, and people hit them up for weddings, things like that. So the winter months are when they really can dive in and spend a lot of time on the project. So that's why we're hitting the 3-year anniversary and nothing's been out, but hopefully it just keeps moving along.
No, I appreciate the update. And I just can't imagine. I mean, me and Jason here are essentially the two full time employees on the Run Try Bike business. So I can imagine being a small business owner doing work like that. But on the video editing side, like, I just can't imagine going through 3 terabytes of data. That's gotta, I
Oh my
mean,
God.
be so much footage.
Yeah, as my best friend Cody, who's working on it, said, he's like, if I just put in like 15, 30 seconds a day, like we got a full film. Meaning a day of the transcon, for 71 days. So just finding those key moments, how he wants to present it. Obviously the goal is to have a bigger team working on it, and that's what we're pushing toward. And it's good to have a family member at Netflix. So I'll definitely keep you posted on more to come.
Yeah, definitely excited for that and appreciate the update.
Yeah.
So, before we dive into some of the other news that you have, one of the fun things we like to do in the spirit of the Fiery Embers is just keep this conversation lighthearted and fun. So I've got so I always love to make this or that questions
Yeah.
through like ChatGPT and AI. So I've got some good ones for you here.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so I'm going to start with 5 questions here, and then we'll go to the next bit. Are you ready for them?
I'm ready, man.
You see a pool. Do you cannonball into the pool or do you dip your toe into the pool?
Oh, cannonball, man. I'm not afraid of cold water. So, a lot of people like to dip their toes in to see, oh, what's the temperature? But sometimes you just got to send it.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I love that. I'm kind of the same way. And I love that every endurance athlete I talk to always says they want a cannonball. And
Yeah, you got to dive right in, man.
all right. So are you an early bird or a night owl?
100% early bird. So I get up at 5 a.m. every morning. Usually go for a run, walk my dogs. Love coffee. Uh, I do the early shift kind of at work. I'm very fortunate they kind of allow me to make my own schedule. But during the summer months, I go into the office. Right now, I'm back in school, so it's just habit. I go to bed early because I usually push myself throughout the day to where I'm kind of exhausted. Come 8:30, 9 o'clock. Some people might be like, "Man, why do you go to bed so early?" It's because I wake up early. I try to get 8 hours of sleep every night, but definitely a morning person.
Follow up question on that. Are you a napping person?
you know, I listen to the body. So if I feel like I need a nap, I'll take one. It usually doesn't happen during the week. With school, with work. It's just hard. But if it's like a Saturday afternoon and I've been up since 5 and I've mowed the lawn and gone for a long run, like I may slip into my little compression boots and fall asleep on the couch, man.
Oh man, that sounds like the perfect recovery exercise right there. Uh, all right, you walk into a room. What is the theme song that plays that describes Jordan Moon's life? What is the theme song when you walk into the room?
Probably Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, I love it. That's a good one too.
Yeah, man, that's just what popped in my head right now, so I have to go with it.
That's a good one. Um, are you would you rather have the would you rather never have to sleep again or never have to eat again?
You know, oh my god, that is actually a very tough one. I'll just say the first thing. I would never have to sleep again if I didn't have to. If the body could fully function without sleep, then you would be so productive in 24 hours. Um, Food is just too good, man. It's just too good. I do love my sleep, but if it's like, hey, we don't need it, then I would pass up sleep for food.
Man, I hear you on that. I mean, I'm a big foodie and I love my food, so that would be a tough one for me, especially if I could be sufficient without sleep. I always have to second guess that answer, knowing, especially both of us having done like multi-day stuff, and we know how king sleep is, you know?
Yeah, I know. Like I said, if you can function without it, then I would give it up. But yeah, if it was like, hey, it's either or, life or death, it's like, the body can go 30 days without food. So we would see how long that goes. But yeah, I'd definitely give up sleep for food.
There we go. Last question before we move on to the a big announcement that you have is if you had to choose sweet or savory for the rest of your life, what would you pick in terms of food?
Savory. So I'm not a sweet guy. My wife is. She likes to have desserts almost every night. It's just not my thing. Uh, I we went out and got ice cream last weekend, and it's the first time I've had ice cream in like 8 months, and I was blown away. I was like, gosh, I can't believe I haven't had this. It's so good, but it's just the one thing I've noticed with my training and my physical performance. Diet is key, and I'm not going to spoil any gains that I may have in my training because I jeopardize my nutrition. um, in the past, like, I feel like, oh man, I got a stomach that can handle anything. Yeah, but like, as I get older, it's you know you may work so hard and then you just throw it away with junk food or desserts or sweets, cookies, candy bars, you know, and then you're like, I just took 2 steps back from my training. I just put on 3 pounds over the weekend, and it's not 3 pounds of muscle. So those are the little things that I'm noticing. So I try to be very diligent and with my sweet intake. There's nothing wrong in my mind. Like when I was on the Transcon, I was eating Kit Kats, Butterfingers. I was eating everything you could think of. It was like Halloween, and the guys had like a 3 pound bag of candy bars that I could just eat. I ate a pint of Ben and Jerry's every single night on the Transcon, like just for calories to come in. So I would say savory though, just because I'm trying to be super strict on my diet.
Yeah, I'm definitely a savory person myself, not a sweet person, and it would be hard for me to get rid of potato chips, pizza, like burritos, especially like that those kind of foods, if I had to choose, I would definitely go savory.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to circle back to this or that questions about the transcon too, because I feel like there's a lot to dig into there, especially with like food and all of that. Because
100%.
man, like can't even imagine the calories you were burning, and I'm sure you've thought about that. I'm sure you got an answer for that too.
All right, so if we want to just go into this real quick,
Yeah.
so the biggest thing, I did not want to lose too much weight over the transcon, because if you're losing too much weight, like your body's deteriorating, like you're breaking everything down. You're not taking in enough calories to have fuel. Um, so I would try to intake 5 to 7,000 calories a day. And that's like eating like every 2 miles, 3 miles. My crew would
Wow.
They would like have a solo cup full of um, a concoction they made with hemp hearts, with honey, with peanut butter, smushed bananas. Like I would just literally eat all day. It was wild. And then it would get to the point where I'm like, I'm so tired of eating, and my crew would be like, you have to eat. So I weighed in at 165 right before I left, and I finished at 160. So I only lost 5 pounds, which is unbelievable. Like
That's
I've heard stories,
huge.
people have lost like 20 pounds doing it. I couldn't afford it. The muscles needed the calories, the energy, the glycogen. It needed everything that I could possibly put in my system. Uh, so it was tough. We got in a really strict routine. What worked for my body, like no GI distress. I would wake up, I would have like oatmeal in the morning, I'd have a protein shake, and then through the next 10 miles, I'd just be snacking on fruit after the first 10. Then we'd start having some heavier meals, usually a breakfast burrito right at 10 miles. Uh, Lunch was consistent, and then dinner was usually like an Asian stir fry or a huge pasta dinner every single night, and then I finished it with a pint of Ben and Jerry's. So like 71 nights of Ben and Jerry's. Like it was kind of crazy. But I loved it. It was so good. I could literally eat whatever I wanted. I just couldn't do it afterwards. I was like, afterwards, Thanksgiving was coming around, and I was just eating so much because that's what like my body was used to, taking in so many calories a day. But yeah, the only time I ever got GI distress was when my crew was so tired of making the same food every single day. Like they wanted to eat something different. And they would be like, oh, hey, we made something new. Try this. And my stomach was toast.
Uh,
It got so used to eating the same thing. And I was like, hey, we can't do. We were in Nebraska. I felt so sick because they made some like breakfast smoothie that I hadn't had. And yeah, it probably sounds great, a breakfast smoothie. Um, who knows what they put in it? I was like, did you guys try this first? And they're like, yeah, yeah, we did. No, they did not try it at all. And I, my stomach was jacked up. And that was actually, I remember where it was. We were on, it was called the Lincoln Highway. It was like the old Pony Express route. And we were exactly in the middle of the country when that happened.
Shoot, man. Well, that's got to be in the film because every
Yeah, yeah,
runner
it was.
loves a good GI story and has a
Oh,
few.
I know, man. I know. But yeah, it was, this time every year I always reflect, 3 years ago, at this exact moment, I was living in Park City, and we had just left my younger brother's wedding, and we were driving the RV to California. And we got to California, got to see the Pacific Ocean, spent a couple nights uh, out there, and got ready. And like I just remember this time I was sitting on the beach, like, oh my gosh, whoa, this is really here. I've been planning this for so long, and it's about to happen. So yeah, this time of year is always very special to me. A lot of memories come flying through my mind, and you know, um, other people have done it since I've done it, and it's always great to see like everyone's journey is different. So that's what's so cool about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me during this special time as well. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that you mentioned that. You're actually the I don't know if you know Emily Hag or Emily Bowen now, but she just did the Transcon. a couple years ago now. So that would be it would be an interesting
Oh,
connection for you
yeah.
guys to just like chat about it, you know?
Hey, get us both on here. I would love to talk to her about it.
Oh, there's an idea, man. We need to have a Transcon roundtable here.
That'd be unbelievable, man. I've got some other buddies who've done it as well too. Robbie Ballinger is his name. He did it
Oh man,
about
I love Robbie's stuff. I've seen his
yeah,
stuff about
yeah.
like running a Tesla and all that, man.
Oh yeah. So we talked to him a couple months ago, the crew and I, because we want to have him on the documentary and kind of like get interviewed. He lives here in Colorado, so he's not too far from us. So we're still trying to match up dates to where he can be interviewed by the film crew and kind of like, like I said, everyone's journey is different across the country. So trying to get his take on his experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we could talk about the Transcon all day, and we'll definitely have to dive more into it when we get you on the regular show. But you just had a pivotal, life changing moment, like just very recently. You've got big things coming up this weekend, and I want to give the floor to you to announce what you actually just announced on your personal as well. But I want to give the floor to you to announce it on the show as well.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. So, running obviously is my passion. Endurance sports. I'm a learner. I'm a sponge. I'm always trying to grow and get better at the sport I love. And so I'm 36 years old, went back to school at Colorado State University, and recently just got married over the summer. So I transferred schools to Regis University, which is a private college here in Denver. And one day last month, it kind of popped into my mind. I was training for the Crested Butte 50 miler, which is at the end of September. And then the next ultra I have on my calendar is Black Canyon 100K in February. That would be my round two, going to come back and do better than I did last year or this year. And so I cold called the coach of Regis University. He is the head cross country coach and track and field coach. I'm going into my last year of school, graduating next summer. And I just said, you know, kind of introduced myself, who I was, my passion for running. And I asked, is there any possible way that I could try out for the cross country team? And, these guys on the team are recruited. They're the best, cross country runners in their city, their state. Uh, and I said, it doesn't hurt to ask. And he said, Jordan, your story is unbelievable. We're happy to have you here at Regis, but you're going to need to do a time trial. And I want to see. I know you're switching from an aerobic background and switching more to an anaerobic. Uh, you know, so that might be difficult for you. It's kind of what he's telling me. He said, but 3 weeks from now, if you can do a time trial 5K, he said, let's just set the bar at 18:30.
Wow.
He's like, you're on the team. And I was like, you got it, coach. I won't let you down. And so my training completely changed because I was training for altitude, for vert, for, trail running up in Crested Butte. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have one shot. I have one fall semester left to be able to compete in collegiate cross country. And we had our time trial, and I have never just like gone out and been like, I'm gonna run a 5K as fast as I can. Like I have no like baseline of where I am. I've gone out and done like a mile test just to see how fast I can run a mile, uh, but never a 5K. And so my training shifted. I did a lot of speed work. I'm waking up in the morning, hitting the track, doing a lot of lactic threshold, doing a lot of strides, doing a lot of hill repeats. I'm doing all the research I possibly can of what collegiate cross country runners do for training. And so I incorporated it. I had about 21 days to prep and just got after it. And I was so nervous before this time trial. So we did this time trial. There's 15 guys on the team, and they're all recruits, freshmen coming from Pennsylvania, California, Phoenix. You've got some sophomores, juniors, and two seniors and one grad student. So handful of mix of guys, but everybody is super fast. Like I started looking at all of their Strava, I started looking at everything that they were doing, and I was blown away. Well, I lined up. It's a 1.3-mile loop around a reservoir, crushed gravel. Um, I ended up wearing my Nike Vaporflies. I was like, I'm not going to wear my, trail shoes. I'm going to wear the fastest shoe that I've got. And I went out there and the gun went off and I'm running and I am in last place. I was like, holy cow, like these guys are so fast. I look down at my watch and we're running a 420 mile and I'm in last. So I am like, hold up, hold up. Like I had a strict splits that I wanted to hit. I wanted to hit like between a 620 and 610 first mile. I wanted to hit a 6 minute second mile. And then I wanted to hit like a sub 550 third mile is what was going through my head. I was like, if I can be in that range, like just get me to the third mile and I'm going to leave it all out there. So when I look at my watch, after the first, 400 meters, I was like, we are going so fast. This is crazy. I was telling myself, Jordan, just run your own race. Like these guys are obviously going to crush it. And so I decide be smart, you know. I'm like, I've been watching the Olympics all summer, like track and field. I was like, the guys who are crushing it are the ones who stay in the pack and then have a huge kick at the end. So I was like, just do your thing. So first lap or first mile, I hit it 5:45. So I was like, okay, so that's faster than I wanted. I was like, maybe I need to throttle back just a little bit, not too much. Um, and so I felt like I was going lighter on the second mile. Second mile beeps. I look down, 5:55. I was like, okay, 10 seconds slower. I'm still feeling good. Like, let's kick it the last half mile, or the last, zero point 0.6, last 1K. And so I get up there and I start catching guys. I start passing guys. I was like, holy cow, this is unbelievable. Like, this is my one shot, like, literally to compete in college level cross country. Leave it out there. Like, what do you have to lose? I know pain. That's the biggest thing that I told myself going in. I was like, I'm much more experienced in like pain threshold than these younger guys. Something may hurt and they lighten up, but I'm like, we're talking 18 minutes, like 18 minutes of pain. Like I can do that. I can do that over and over and over again. Like what is 18 minutes is kind of like what I was telling myself. My mantra is the pain won't last. So like whenever I was hurting, I was like, the pain won't last. It's not going to last. And I had a great kick and I finished seventh. I finished seventh on the team. Oops, sorry, my dog's barking.
Go
Um,
ahead.
hey,
Oh,
look,
brother, please.
so yeah, I finished seventh, man. Unbelievable. I finished in 18:11 was my clocked in time. I think my Strava said 18, but the coach got 18:11. So it was a 5:48 pace
Oh my
was my
gosh.
average. And so I was on this crazy running high. I made the team. I'm like jumping up, chest bumping the guys. Like these guys are half my age. And so unbelievable. I got NCAA compliance and clearance. Like our first meet is next Saturday, a week from Saturday. It's an 8K down in Colorado Springs. And then we've got a couple more in Colorado. And then we go to California in Riverside. We have a meet.
Hmm.
And then we go to conference championships in Vegas. and then the NCAA regionals is here in Denver. So I am super stoked. Training every morning with the team, 6:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the evening. We lift weights twice a week. Like it's just great being with the group. I tell myself, I'm like, this is just another thing to add on to like my running resume. Uh, a lot of people that you see or you may talk to that you are friends with, they might say, "Yeah, I ran cross country in high school, and then I went to college and competed." You know, yeah, they probably did all that in their 20s, and I'm like, "Oh, now I get a shot at 36." So, it's a huge, huge goal, that I was able to achieve that, I had a really short window to prepare. I that's why you know, people say, like, you know, firefighters or cops or military, they might say, like, "Always be ready." So, like, one thing that in my mind, I'm like, I guess as a runner, you should always be ready. Like, things change, races change, things come up with family, you got to pivot. Uh, you may get sick and can't do a race, but like, it really comes down to like just always being prepared. So, I was prepared, like, kind of good. I thought I was fit going into Crest Butte 50. Like, I had a very good goal for that race, but then when my training changed drastically and I started doing things that I was not comfortable doing, like speed work, um, it's crazy. Like you start incorporating speed work, man, like you do get faster. Like it blows my mind. I've always been like time, miles, like volume, like that's gonna get me there. That's gonna get me across the finish line is how I've always been. But now it's like, well, how fast can I get across that finish line? So I'm very fortunate that the coaches have come up with a training plan just for me, given my age, because these guys are putting in 80 to 100 miles a week. Um, they're putting in huge volume, but they recover so much faster than me. Their physiology is completely different than me being a grown man. So they like to keep me in the 50 to 60 range volume, but just make the workouts count. You know, just make sure you're very intentional with what you're going out to do. Don't just go out there and be like, oh well, I'm just gonna run. Like I can't do that anymore. I can't just like I have a strict schedule and I have to do exactly what it is. And uh, because they kind of made me a training plan before this time trial, I can see how much it really helped me progress in my speed.
And it's it's just awesome. I'm just blown away, dude, just by the story and like holding like a 5:48 after going out hot and then like running your race and just coming in 7th overall and like doing this at 36 is just incredible, my friend. And like I can't wait to follow along in that first meet and all the future meets, and just see where this journey takes you. And appreciate you sharing this on our Fiery Embers, and can't wait to have you on the fireside chat to look back at the season in retrospect as well.
Oh man, I would love that. Well, as we talked before we came on here, I had really like only told my wife and my dad, and you reached out to me, and I was like, I've got something I want to tell you, man. Like I know how much you love to run, and so do I, and so does your audience and your friends and your family. Like people know you, they know that you love running, and yeah, I just wanted to share this cool story. It shows me that if you have the mindset, like this is like with the transcon, like if you have the mindset, anything is possible. But the biggest thing is you got to put in the work. You have to. Um, you could go out there and say I didn't I don't want to wake up early this morning and go for a run. I just want to lay here in bed. Hey, my time might have been like a 6:10 average or a 6:15, like so I believe that you reap what you put in. Um and if you really want something, like you are the only person really stopping yourself from getting there. The coaches were so jacked up because um afterwards they're like, Jordan, you executed that perfectly. They said the younger guys, yeah, they went out super fast. You know, their first mile was like a 5:05. Um, you know, 5:11, 5:12 were like the first three guys. Well, they had positive splits the rest of the 5K. So like they constantly kept getting slower and slower. Yes, it's super fast. Like, oh yeah, they're slower as a 550, you know, but they went from a 5:05 to a 550 at the end. They didn't have the kick at the end. And the coaches were just telling me like you were so disciplined in your race. And so that meant a lot, you know, because again, it's pretty intimidating when you got like, you know, these recruits who are coming in at 18 and they hold records in their state, and I'm just they're like, who's this old guy, you know? So, you know, it definitely humbled me, but you know, one thing, you know, you get those endorphins, you get that runner's high at the end. My runner's high after that time trial was insane. Like I was on cloud nine. I was so jacked up the rest of the day. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love life." Like, you know, let's keep this going. The season's just now beginning, you know, so it should be a very fun fall. Um, but to round back to one thing that just popped in my mind when I was originally talking to the coach and I was telling him my, you know, my running resume, what I've done in the past, and what I have planned in the future. How I told him I've got the Crestview 50, I've got Black Canyon, I'm hoping to get into Western States in the lottery finally. I'm hoping to get into Leadville lottery finally. Like I'm still unsure about that, but I have big goals. He just said, Jordan, you know, it seems like your mind is really set on ultras right now. Like, I don't know if cross country is good toward your goals. And I said, Coach, I've got one opportunity to run in college. I have one opportunity. That is it. Ultras will always be there. Those races aren't going anywhere. I can compete in them with the year after. Like, but this is my only shot. And I was like, just please give me one shot to prove myself. And he did. So yeah, you know, if the timing aligns, you know, and now's the time to go after something, you just got to go all in. That's you got to do that cannonball. You can't be dipping your toes in.
Yeah, there's the full circle right there. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me on the Fiery Embers and for announcing that big news on our platform. And can't wait to have you back on the real show, man. And appreciate your time.
Hey, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on, and we'll be talking soon. All right.
Absolutely. And you hope you have a great rest of your day, brother.
All right. You too. Thanks.